In today's show, fund manager says the Bitcoin price is targeting $225,000 by the end of 2021. That's right, Bitcoin bull and Morgan Creek Digital co-founder Anthony Pompliano is mapping out why he believes the Bitcoin price could reach $250,000 in just over a year. In his latest letter to investors, Pomp unveils the macro factors that may serve as tailwinds for the next Bitcoin bull market. He goes on to share, many investors will look at the historical price of the digital asset and believe they missed it. That couldn't be further from the truth. In my opinion, I believe we're at the start of another boom cycle in Bitcoin, which is likely to drive us 10 to 20x higher in the 15-month window. I'll be breaking this down for you in today's show. Also, while we're discussing Pomp, he recently announced he has 80% of his capital invested into the king of all crypto. Check this out. Pomp's asset allocation, he revealed on his podcast, 80% BTC, and then the remaining 20% is divvied in real estate, cash, and early stage companies. I'll be breaking this down in today's show. Also in today's episode, we're still early. Only 7% of Americans have bought BTC, according to a new study from Statista. Checking out this tweet from Dan Tapiro, he wrote, "It's still so early for Bitcoin, still at the birth of a new global asset class. How common is crypto according to countries? Well, in Nigeria, 32% have used or own cryptocurrency, followed by United States trailing with only 7%. We'll be discussing this in greater detail with you here in today's show. Also in today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the overall crypto market. We can see Bitcoin, Ethereum, most of the altcoins back in the green, but where's the Bitcoin price likely to go from here? Find out all this, plus so much more in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day, so be sure to smash that subscribe button. That's right, and turn on all notifications to receive daily, premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. And before I kick off today's show, if interested in tapping into OPM, leveraging other people's money to grow your wealth and crypto portfolio, then smash that link right below this video in the description. All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. Let's kick it off by diving into today's top story of the day. Fund manager Anthony Pompliano says the Bitcoin price is targeting $250,000 by the end of 2021. Here's his crypto investment thesis. So yeah, a $225,000 Bitcoin price in just over a year, according to Pomp. In his latest letter to investors, Pompliano unveils the macro factors that may serve as tailwinds for the next Bitcoin bull market. And I'll include this letter in the show notes below the video in the description, entitled The Investment Case for Bitcoin. It includes this audio, which is 6 minutes and 50 seconds. And now for some of the highlights. He goes on to share, the Federal Reserve has cut interest rates to 0%. They plan to keep us in a zero rate environment for the foreseeable future. Multiple stimulus packages in 2020 now total more than $3 trillion in quantitative easing, and we have another $2 trillion on the way. The combo of the Fed's asset price manipulation and inflation fears has driven gold and Bitcoin to drastically outperform equities and other commodities. That's right, Bitcoin's the best performing asset class of 2020, and I have a good feeling it's going to continue to soar. The Bitcoin advocate also highlights that Wall Street has woken up to the Bitcoin trade, which Pomp says has increased demand for BTC. We're also seeing a new trend emerge where corporations are using Bitcoin as a reserve asset for part or a majority of their treasury. It started with publicly traded digital asset focused firms like Galaxy Digital and others. And then we saw MicroStrategy put 85% of their $500 million balance into Bitcoin. And most recently, financial technology company Square announced it has purchased about 50 million of Bitcoin for their balance sheet, which is approximately 1% of their assets. Not too shabby, huh? Talk about massive institutional adoption acquiring Bitcoin right now. As the demand outlook for Bitcoin remains strong, says Pomp, he shifts his focus to the supply side of the equation. He refers to the most recent Bitcoin halving, which reduced the number of new Bitcoin entering circulation from 1,800 to 900 per day. Historically, these supply shocks have led significant price increases of 20x in the following 18 months post-halving. That's a great point. Usually the year following the Bitcoin halving. Now, considering we just had a halving a few months back, now if history was to repeat and Bitcoin 20x from here over the next 18 months, that would put the Bitcoin price at approximately 230,000 at today's price of 11,500. Not too shabby. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Pompliano's bullish price prediction right here. And in addition to the increase in demand and decreasing Bitcoin supply, Pompliano highlights a key factor that he says solidifies the bullish argument for BTC, the fact that more than 60% of all mined BTC has not switched hands in more than a year. That's right, we have some strong hands in the market right now, which is definitely a bullish sign. Pomp says this shows investors are refusing to sell despite several major moves to the downside in 2020. You can say that again. Bitcoin crashed all the way down to like 3,500 earlier in the year back in March as a result of the pandemic. Now, with this investment thesis in place, Pomp predicts that the Bitcoin price could touch $250,000 by the end of 2021. He goes on to share, many investors will look at the historical price increase of the digital asset and believe they missed it. That couldn't be further from the truth, in my opinion. I believe we're at the start of another boom cycle in Bitcoin, which is likely to drive us 10x to 20x higher in the 15-month window. All right, now let's do some more math. If Bitcoin was to 10x from here in the next 15 months, that would put the Bitcoin price at 115,000, which is in alignment with the stock to flow. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Once again, with Pompliano's bullish price predictions that the Bitcoin price can soar to 115,000 all the way up to 225,000 within the next 15 months. And before I break down our next story of the day, Pompliano announces he now has 80% of his capital invested into the king of all crypto. Let's first take a look at the overall crypto market. We can see Bitcoin up 1.7%, trading just above that $11,400 support. I'd love to see Bitcoin retest that 12K resistance. I feel once we can break that, then it's no telling how fast we can climb and reach price discovery mode, reclaiming that $20,000 all-time high, which was set back in December of 2017. We have Ethereum up 1.2%, trading at $378. I'm also very bullish on Ether, being it is the king of decentralized finance after all. We have Chainlink up barely in the green, trading at $10.85. XRP up 2%, trading just below 25 cents. Miss Litecoin up almost 1%, trading just below 48 bucks. And XLM Stellar Lumens up 7%, trading at 8.6 cents. All right, now let's break down our next story of the day. There are many that say Bitcoin is poised to see rapid appreciation in the years ahead, but many don't have that much skin in the game. Investor and former Facebook team member Pomp recently said this is not the case with him. In a podcast just recently, he said that 80% of his wealth is concentrated in the leading cryptocurrency. That's right, joining Max Kaiser, who allocated 80% of his balance sheet into Bitcoin back in 2011. The longtime Bitcoin bull, Pomp, made waves back in 2019 on CNBC's Squawk Box segment with Kevin O'Leary, where he asserted he's so bullish on the crypto that he has 50% of his wealth in the asset. He did not disclose the exact dollar figure, of course, but such a large percentage allocation to Bitcoin is notable. And then naturally, O'Leary, a Canadian businessman known for his appearances on Shark Tank and also a Bitcoin troll, if you're to ask me, said he didn't think that was a great idea. Go figure. In a recent episode of the Pomp podcast, he noted he did not take the warning from Kevin O'Leary, and he has not only reduced his exposure to Bitcoin, but he increased it. Kudos to you, Pomp. He said that now he has 80% of his assets into Bitcoin. The rest of the 20% is made up of real estate, cash, and early stage companies. Most likely, many of those early stage investments are into crypto-related companies, meaning his exposure to this space may be higher than 80%. Checking out this tweet from Paul Anderson, who wrote, "Thanks for answering my question on today's podcast, Pomp. Pomp's asset allocation, Bitcoin, 80%. And the rest is in real estate, cash, and early stage companies. That Bitcoin allocation is looking pretty nice if you ask me. Respect for putting your money where your mouth is. Check out the full episode, which I'll include in the show notes below the video in the description so you hear it directly from the horse's mouth. But check it out. Pomp is not the only influencer slash investor with skin in the game. We have Raul Pal, the CEO of Real Vision, who announced in a recent podcast he has more than 50% of his liquid net worth into the king of all crypto. Pal is a former hedge fund manager and the former head of Goldman Sachs hedge fund sales division. It's also important to note that he correctly predicted the 2008 Great Recession. On why he is so bullish on Bitcoin, Raoul Pal went on to share, most people don't understand the latter, but simply put, Powell, talking about Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, has shown that there is zero tolerance for deflation, so they will do anything to stop it, and that is good for the two hardest assets, gold and Bitcoin. Powell wants inflation. I don't think he gets true demand push inflation, but he will get fiat devaluation in conjunction with other central banks, all in the same mission. He thinks Bitcoin is a asymmetric bet that is likely to pay off big things this market cycle. He recently told a financial news publication that the crypto could hit $1 million this cycle due to macro trends. And I covered that here in Crypto News Alerts. If you missed that episode with Raoul Pal, be sure to check it out, as he's extremely bullish on the king of all crypto, as he should be. Now, the $1 million question, are you as bullish as Pompliano and Raoul Pal? Let me know in the comments right down below. And before we break down our next story of the day, we're still so early with only 7% of Americans which have bought Bitcoin, according to this new study from Statista. But first, let's take a look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting at 360 billion with 61 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Current BTC dominance is 59% even, according to CoinMarketCap. And now checking out the top gainers within the top 100, we have UMA up a whopping 15%, now trading just above $9. Quant up 7%, trading above $11. OKB up 6%, trading at $4.62. Ocean Protocol up 6%, trading at 37.5 cents. Uniswap up 5%, trading at $3.21. And Stellar Lumens up 5.6%, trading at 8.5 cents. And now checking out the biggest losers within the top 100 in the past 24 hours, we have Filecoin down another 11%, now trading at $31. This was up a couple 100%, and now it's only up 22% for the week, but still in the green for the week at least. Crypto.com coin has been decreasing steadily. I don't know what's going on with CRO. If anyone has any insights, please let me know, but it's down another 10%, now trading below 11 cents, and down almost 28% for the week. We have Arweave down 8%, trading at $3. Hedge Trade down 5%, trading at 78 cents. And Reserve Rights down 5%, trading at 1 penny. Now, out of this list of the biggest gainers and losers, which altcoins in particular are you watching? Which ones are you most bullish on right now? Drop me a comment right down below. And now checking out the BitMEX margins, we can see the bulls are dominating, back in control, leading with about 69 million in superiority in the last 24 hours, with longs leading 54.6% versus 45.4% shorts. Are you currently bullish or bearish on the king of all crypto? Holla at your boy. And now checking out one of my favorite indicators is the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Shows we're currently rated a 55 in greed, the same as yesterday. Last week was a 52 in neutral, and last month a 48 in neutral. And if you're not familiar with the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That can be a great buying opportunity, aka BTFD, buy that freaking dip. When investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. All right, and before I break down our final story of the day and we discuss how early we truly are when it comes to Bitcoin adoption, first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the market. This goes for all 570 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also, some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including the blog to my podcast, which could be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Not only is this updated literally every single day, it also allows you to download the latest episode of the show in MP3 format. Also, be sure to smash that subscribe button right below this video to help support the channel. We just crossed over 1 million views. I want to say I greatly appreciate your support. If you're listening or tuning in on a different platform outside of YouTube, the direct YouTube link is cryptonewsalerts.net. You can also find us on all the major podcasts and platforms, from Spotify, the home of the Joe Rogan Experience, where our show is popping. Also on Apple's iTunes. You can find the links in the description right here. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter to receive daily crypto news alerts. My Twitter handle is Crypto News Yes, and you already know crypto Twitter is poppin', to say the least. Also, be sure to join me in my private Facebook group entitled Crypto Alchemy. To join it, simply click this link, request to join. I'll be sure to plug you in. And for those of you active on Telegram, I do have a private crypto Telegram chat. To join it, click this link. You'll automatically be added, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you personally on the inside. All right, now let's break down our final story of the day, shall we? According to new data from Statista, only 7% of Americans have previously used Bitcoin. This means current investors into BTC are still early early in an early stage of growth? That's right, we're early to the party. Welcome. Dan Tapiro, the co-founder of 10T Holdings, said Bitcoin is still at the birth phase of a new asset class. He wrote here on Crypto Twitter, shout out to Dan Tapiro, it's still so early for Bitcoin, still at the birth of a new global asset class. So how common is crypto around the world? Well, let's check out this chart. In Nigeria, 32% have used or own cryptocurrency. In Vietnam, 21%. In South Africa, 17%. In Turkey, 16%. Peru, 16%. Spain, 10%. China, 8%, followed by the United States at 7%, followed by Germany at 6%, followed by Japan at 4%. So as you can see, this crypto thing is still just a pup, meaning we're just getting started. This is a little alarming to see that the United States only has 7% Bitcoin adoption compared to Nigeria, which has a whopping 32%. We have a long ways to go, but there's a lot of opportunity here if you get my drift. Now checking out some of the responses. Santa wrote, I thought Japan and South Korea were much higher. These numbers seem awfully high. Germany, 6%. Wow. And Dan Tapiro responded, it's a survey of select countries. It's not a straight top to bottom survey. An example, there are countries that belong on this list that are not listed. Makes a great point. And then we had Alex right, but data is really clear. Adoption is happening only in dysfunctional countries as a backup to devaluating currencies. Same in Argentina and Venezuela. It won't be real until it's taken by the Western powers and China. I've been in crypto for years, but this doesn't look good. And Didier responded, not so under-owned after this according to this stat. And Tapiro wrote, completely under-owned, which ultimately means massive opportunity for you and I. And in the longer term, Bitcoin has significant growth potential to evolve into an established store of value like gold. That's why we call Bitcoin Gold 2.0 or gold with wings, as it's superior. I love this quote from the Winklevoss twins who said, Bitcoin is a better version of gold than gold itself. And I agree with this 100%. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And if so, investors anticipate its valuation to increase exponentially over the next decade. That's why the Winklevoss twins made the case for $500,000 Bitcoin. And that's why we have so many influencers extremely bullish, including Raoul Pal, who says the Bitcoin price will reach $1 million. So what exactly is needed for mainstream adoption to pick up? Let's discuss it. Currently, the majority of the demand for Bitcoin comes from investors that perceive Bitcoin as gold 2.0. Investors believe Bitcoin would eventually establish itself as a safe haven asset. Consequently, institutional investors have heavily accumulated BTC in recent months. That's right, MicroStrategy and Stone Ridge, for instance, purchased $425 million and $110 million worth of Bitcoin respectively. Yeah, pretty serious, right? But if the retail demand for Bitcoin picks up in tandem across major regions, it could cause Bitcoin to grow exponentially. And that's precisely what I'm anticipating, almost like a domino effect. One company does it, now other companies like Square and others are coming out of the woodwork. And I think more and more will start using Bitcoin as a reserve asset. It just makes so much sense. Why would anyone who has hundreds of millions of dollars, especially big corporations or companies, keep those reserves in cash when they're continuing to print massive amounts of fiat currency in the name of quantitative easing, which ultimately means that money is going to eventually be worth nothing, as Max Kaiser predicted and I covered in greater detail in yesterday's episode. In recent years, the Bitcoin exchange and fiat on-ramp infrastructure have significantly improved across the US, Europe, and Asia. You can say that again. However, there's still many countries that lack a reliable exchange infrastructure to this day. Canada, as an example, lacks a strictly regulated major local crypto exchange users can rely on. Apart from Coinbase, once the exchange and fiat on-ramp infrastructure gets fully established, then it would become easier for retail investors to enter the market. Without ETFs and major bank custodians, users still have to undergo a relatively complex process of using exchanges. Some exchanges require a know your customer known as KYC verification process before users can initiate wire transfers to buy BTC. And right now you're looking at the monthly price chart of Bitcoin according to TradingView. And as such, until there's further improvements in the infrastructure to onboard retail investors, the broader mainstream population would likely struggle to enter the dragon. Oh, I mean the crypto market. Yeah, that's right. And now for the $1 million question. Are you ready? Where would the Bitcoin price go with mainstream adoption? Good question, right? The long-term predictions of Bitcoin widely vary depending upon which influencer you ask. We have predictions anywhere from 20,000 all the way to 1 million. As I mentioned earlier, we have the Real Vision CEO, Raoul Pal, who believes the Bitcoin price is heading to $1 million. We have the infamous stock to flow model, which predicts a $100,000 Bitcoin price by the end of next year, as well as a $288,000 Bitcoin price medium average by the year 2024. And at a price point of 1 million, let's just do some math, shall we? The fully diluted market cap of Bitcoin would have to be at around $21 trillion. Keeping in mind, the current market cap is about 250 billion for the king of all crypto. That would be more than 2 folds of gold's current market valuation of 9 trillion. So talking about flipping on the gold market cap, once that occurs, expect at least a $500,000 Bitcoin price, as the case the Winklevoss twins made, or even as high as 1 million or more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. Fund manager Pomp says Bitcoin's targeting 225,000 by the end of 2021. And in today's show, I shared with you his crypto investment thesis. That's right. And I'll include this in the show notes below the video in the description. I also shared with you the fact that Pompliano recently announced he now has 80% of his capital into Bitcoin. That's right. As you can see right here, Pomp's asset allocation, Bitcoin 80% and the remaining 20% real estate, cash, and early stage companies, more than likely crypto related companies. Also in today's show, I shared with you that it's still early for Bitcoin, that we're still at the birth of a new global asset class, with the United States only having 7% of people who have purchased or used cryptocurrency, which means there's a lot of room for growth, to say the least. So where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go from here? Drop me a comment right down below. Well, that's going to conclude today's show. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and journeying along with me inside this incredible crypto matrix. If you gain value out of today's show, be sure to smash that subscribe button. That's right. And turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. And real quick before I go, if interested in tapping into OPM, leveraging other people's money to grow your wealth and crypto portfolio, then smash that link right below the video in the description to register for this free system entitled OPM Wealth. You'll be glad you did, and check it out. Be sure to hodl. If you're not hodling, what are you doing in your life? And I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode. Deuces.